fabulous interview that I am doing with Lisa. Now, this is going to be an amazing interview because I really have got to see Lisa's artwork and her spirit, not only her spiritual artwork, but also just what she does for a living. And it's very beautiful. It is full with a lot of different colors. It's full of grace. It's full of beauty, and it's full of her. And that's what's so important here is that her artwork is full of her. And we are just so excited to be able to do this process today. And so Lisa is actually she's in her studio right now, which is amazing that she gets to, be in her studio joining us. And so, Lisa has been following me and I have also been following her. We've been kind of, you could say spying on each other, just kind of saying, oh, what are you up to? Oh, what's going on here? And it's a wonderful process. I'm super excited. And, I want Lisa to really kind of give you guys a view of her. Okay. So what I know about Lisa is she is really dedicated to her process of art. She's really dedicated to putting forth her product and putting out her light through the expression of art. And, she is classically trained. And you know what, Lisa, you go ahead and you tell everyone more about yourself and about your wonderful process. And as you do that, I'm going to share this out. And guys, I ask you to do the same. So please go ahead and share this out to your pages, to share this out to your groups as I do the same. So Lisa, please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello from New York, Long Island. Thank you so much for joining tonight. And thank you, Ron, for having me on. And yes, we've both been following each other for years. I think both of us are very contagious with our positivity. And that's really what I'm drawn to about you. So I really hope that my positivity comes in through my art. So hello again. Thank you for coming into the studio here in New York. Kind of a rainy, windy night, but here it's beautiful in the studio. So I am trained, I'm a Parsons graduate. Got accepted into all the New York colleges, and I wanted to go to Parsons because it was the hardest. And I like to work hard. And what I've done is over the years, I've become a master artist in different mediums, from pen and ink to watercolor to oils. And where I'm at now, 40 years later, is I take the combination of that and create artwork that really meets the soul. So I've done traditional painting. You'll come into the studio, you see pretty flowers. I do landscape painting on location. I've taught in my 40 years, I have taught during the duration. I have my a studio attached to my home for the last 30 years. I've been teaching in there. And I've started to touch base with my soul painting, I guess about 8 years ago. I was always into meditating and such. Back when I was 17, my yoga teacher became my best friend and was in my wedding party. So I've always been drawn to the spiritual part. And now it's such a beautiful age where we're coming out and people are starting to pay attention to signs of angels and spirit, and it's okay to talk about stuff like that. And so all of a sudden, my work started to transform with the energies that are happening to all of us. And it's very exciting that I'm able to do that, and I feel very honored and privileged.
Yes, it is a beautiful thing to be able to do, to share your light and to share your expression. And like you said, it's so much more accessible these days to really be talking about this stuff and not necessarily having to hide or having to be like, oh, I'm not quite sure. That's really the beauty. So you've been talking about you've kind of touched on it, and you've said your soul art. Now, what is that? What is soul art?
Well, I think what's happening is people are becoming more in touch with what it is that their intuitive self wants. I explain to people what that is if you're walking down the block and you have a sense that someone's watching you, and you turn around and you see that someone is behind you. So you're in fact honoring your inner self, your your wise self inside. And so what happens is now that we're having this conversation, because people are really becoming more attuned to each other's soul's purpose, but not only that, but as well as getting in touch with the spiritual side, which is maybe guides, whatever it is that it means to you. So with my soul art, what I'm able to do is touch base with what your potential is and put that down on paper. So what does that mean? I started noticing images around people, and I'm kind of just a regular gal. I don't do a lot of drinking or smoking. And I was like, why am I seeing these images around people? And I started drawing them, and my two daughters were like, Mom, you can't draw those things around people's heads. And I'm like, I don't know, they're just there. I see them. Like, I'm just gonna do it, you know? And then I started getting brave, and then I started asking the people, hey, do you mind if I draw you with a unicorn? You know, and this is an adult. And I was like, oh, like it's really, and they were like, yes, I secretly love unicorns. And then I started to see more visions around the people. And then all of a sudden I found myself drawn to collecting things. What am I collecting? These shells or rocks or feathers from the Amazon. What the heck? All of a sudden I became obsessed with collecting green feathers from the Amazon. Now, if those of you who are familiar with how mediumship works, before a client comes in, sometimes you will get readings beforehand, like a visitor will come to give a message before the client shows up. Well, the same thing started happening to me. Before the client showed up, I started getting materials. I was like, I have no idea what to do with this. And then all of a sudden the person would sit with me, and I call it a soul portrait. I like to see the person. If I could do it through photographs, but I like to feel their energy. And then I go, oh, this is for you. These items I'm collecting are for you. And that's how it started to transform for me, putting it together.
Beautiful.
You have any questions? I mean, it goes more in depth, but I'm waiting for you to ask me more.
Oh, no. I mean, the process is just amazing. So as you are creating these soul portraits, you know, each item, as you described, each item has significance, and it's in kind of imparting its energy into the portrait to assist this person in, would you say, evolving or growing or opening up their soul, or opening
All
up
of
to
their,
opening
the
up?
word I use is ascension. The word I use is ascension, and people think, oh, ascending means you're going to die. It just means that you're moving up the ladder to your purpose, your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that we have a short window. We're borrowing the body, and we're learning a lesson. We're in our human self. You know, we're all spirit beings, because even as we transcend and you're getting old, you know, my father is unfortunately becoming weak, and he's dying. I can see his energy still and his soul self. But when I do my meditations, I can feel the sense of his energy, because anybody who has studied physics, you can't kill energy. So we are all made of energy. So we're just shifting. So I think now in the day and age, especially now moving into 2020 and after December 12th, there was a huge shift happening in that planet where we're feeling more. People are feeling and talking about what they're feeling with each other, with the planet, with the things that are around them. Even the sun and the moon are shifting. The way you see them with your eye, your naked eye, and with your camera is becoming different. And people are talking to each other. And I may not, you're states away from me, and you and I are talking. And how come you and I understand each other so well? It's because it's a collective consciousness, a spirit that's coming in. So that's that we're all shifting. So we're looking for different healing modalities. And so again, Ron, I'm doing the artwork. I'm not 100% sure, because I'm working with my intuitive self. There's no how-to book. There's no Google that I can look up. See, in the years that I have been a teacher, I don't know about you, but I didn't like when I took an art class and the teacher would hold the picture up and go, okay, class, we're going to draw this flower. Here, let's say this one. I have a flower here. We're going to draw this flower. And then the person is so dead on counting how many petals, la, la, la. You're missing the whole idea of the process. So when I was a little girl, it's funny backstory, second grade, we did a flower picture like this, but it was cut out petals. So I remember I went to Catholic school, and the nuns were like crazy about me not. So my mom would show up at the parent-teacher thing, and she'd go, come here, your daughter, she did not put that other last petal on. we're giving her whatever, -D. And my mother goes, well, why did you not put that on there? And I said, because the pedal fell down. Like, get a grip with yourself. So as a teacher, I never show the finished product because that is your intuitive self that's going to figure it out. So with that background, that's how I was able to form this. I didn't see anybody else doing this kind of work. So I had to work intuitively, and I had to ask for guidance. I can't be on a high horse and think I'm the one only doing this. That's crazy. That's ego. No, there is assistance in your soul self if you ask for it. Are you going to struggle? Are you going to fall down and not do so good? Yeah, and then you're going to say, "Oh, you didn't help me." That's not true. That in itself was a lesson, and all of it's a lesson. Everything's a lesson. Even how many times have I done a painting over and over? I don't feel like I'm going to get it right. I do it over and over again. That was part of the process.
Right. Exactly. It's always part of that process. And what would you say to someone who may be interested in really receiving a soul portrait? Like, what would you say to them? You know, what if they just they're listening to us and they're like, you know what? It sounds really interesting, but what is it really going to, what are you going to do for me? What is it going to do? How is it going to assist me in my soul's growth? What have you seen with your clients that you have done soul portraits for? How have you seen it transform their lives?
Okay, I'm going to answer that. I wasn't sure. At first, I was just doing the painting, and I thought, and then I started getting, I get a message when we sit in, like I'll sit and meditate, or when I receive the photograph, I will get a message first, boom, right away. Then because I asked my spirit team, what are we doing? Then I'll start to work. Now, if you sat here one-on-one in my studio and we're doing a meditation together, when I'm done, it looks like this, a big scribble. In fact, I should have brought my notebook and showed just a scribble. What does a scribble look like? And from there, because I don't know, the scribble means something, because a lot of it is sacred geometry. There might be symbols in there that even myself on a human self doesn't even know what it is. And again, if you really trust the process, you just kind of let it go. Because again, remember, if you go with the premise that you trust your gut, like I told you, you're walking down the block, someone's watching you, same premise. That is not something that's taught, Ron, in the school. I mean, that's not taught anywhere. When you go to a job and they're like, do you trust your gut? You know what I mean? Like, you have to really know. That's the person who stands up. So what I do is I trust my guides, I trust my gut to give you what you need. So the first step was to sit down with the client, get the drawing done. Then I deliver the painting delivered the painting to the client with the message. And then something magical happened. They're now giving me another message when it goes home. And I didn't know was not an awareness of this until I started getting feedback that the clients were telling me that they were astral traveling, that they were getting answers to things. And then they realized, for the years I've been doing it, that these symbols are a key code to like an Akasha records to your past. And it's just for you. So you can look at it and go, it's some lady with a big head, some unicorns around her. Not to her. Not to her. So I didn't realize that. So when I give the painting back to the person and give it to them, I give you a card on what your purpose is. And then you get your own message after you get the artwork, which was totally blew me away. And that's when I realized that the painting is an energy portal. I had no idea. And so then I started noticing key codes that I put in the painting. Some of it is done underneath the painting part. The last one, the one I delivered yesterday, I collect waters and land and rocks and different things from all over the world. So I happen to have sacred water from Sedona in 3 different sacred pools. I stuck it in my bag. Trust me, it wasn't great. Paid $100 extra because it weighed so much. Anyway, they had me blend that sacred water and put it into the painting, behind the painting. So I had just finished the painting. I said to them, when am I putting the sacred water in? They went, turn the painting over. We want you to blend it in the back. So whatever the direction is, I just follow, whether it's Reiki symbols. Again, I don't even know. I mean, I know a little Reiki, but I'm putting the symbols in that means something to that person. I don't have to know everything. You know what I mean? Like going on vacation and saying, I need to know how many flowers we're going to pass and how many buildings and blah, blah, blah. Hello, are you going to enjoy the ride? Like, just enjoy the ride. So it's the same premise. You really have to go with a real gut-based, trusted yourself. And what's the result? The client tells you what the result is. They come back and say,
Yes.
you know, do you know blah, blah, blah happened to me? And
Right.
that's what.
That's really what it is all about. You are assisting people in, gaining that consciousness,
Yes.
which is, absolutely beautiful, that you are helping people to elevate their consciousness, but you're doing it in a visual way.
Right.
Instead, you are basically imparting the energy. And this is just, my understanding of what you have been saying, which is you yourself are, through your hands, through the motions of your paintbrushes, your pencils, whatever material that you're using, you are imparting the energy of, the key code into that painting, so that person can access that particular energy pattern or that particular energy message as they view that. And then you're also not only giving them that visual message, but you're also giving them a written message as well, to really, assist them and help them in whatever way that is going to be for them. And so it's a way of channeling, which is absolutely
Right.
beautiful. And channeling is, a wonderful process in which, you kind of, the ego mind steps aside, the lower mind, the lower self steps aside, and you really allow, that higher self to download in and to just really let it use the body. Because, for those of you who, know me, I'm a Course in Miracles fanatic. And, the Course in Miracles really does say, let the divine flow through you. Let the body be used for what it was meant for, which is communication. And that's really what I am seeing you do, is you are communicating that person's particular energy frequency into this painting so that they can tune in themselves, so they can really get that message. Now, what I want to ask you is, in doing this wonderful process and in helping all of these people to better, evolve, to ascend, to enlighten, whatever it is that you want to call that, when you begin to, do this process, could you do it for someone long distance, or do they have to be in your immediate presence? How,
No.
like, if, we live, obviously, like you said, states away,
Right.
could I, send you a picture of myself and then
Yeah.
you receive that energy?
Yes, I've done photographs, but I've also done live FaceTime. And
Oh,
so,
wonderful.
no, I have a lot of clients out of state. So, I mean, sometimes I request it, especially if the photograph is not to spirit's liking, not my liking, because I don't choose it. So, I will do that. I have one particular client I can tell you about. She's from Massachusetts, and we set up the live. And then sometimes spirit will ask me to pose the person, because I'm not a fantasy painter. If you look at my history, I'm just regular landscape floral painter. So I don't have a huge background on doing cartoons or any of that animation stuff. So I will ask you, the client, to just turn your head this way, and then I'll take a little snapshot. So I had one client in Massachusetts, and we did this whole process. Now, when we were talking about how the artwork turns into a key code for the client, and you said, how do they get in touch with you? How do they know when they're going to get in touch with you? Because you're going to feel a calling to it. So I've had people talk to me years ago, and they say, I think I'm going to get one. And now 2 years later, whatever it is, they call me up. I'm ready. Because it's really a truth, Ron. It's like a smack in your face truth, because there are going to be some things that could make you uncomfortable. I'm just the best passing the message to you. You know what I'm saying? So the one woman in Massachusetts, I gave it to her, and then she was like, oh, I don't know if I really like it. And I was like, well, just sit for a little while. So she sit for a little while. And I said, okay, and come back to me. And about 2 weeks later, she goes, you know what? I realized that the things that I noticed in there were the things that I'm not comfortable with myself. And I finally made peace with it. And I totally understand what your message was and why these elements are put here. So she was so elated. So I said, okay, well, can you put it up on your wall and take a picture for me? Ron, never meeting the woman in person, she put the picture on the wall, the painting on the wall, and every single thing I painted, she had collected through this lifetime was on the wall around the painting.
Wow.
So I said,
Wow.
how could I possibly, where are we talking? I had put a starfish, and the starfish that I painted had one of the legs shorter than the other, and it was curved. Even to get that gesture right has nothing to do with me, has to do with spirit. I'm not living with you. So I said to her, oh my God, you mean, how much more could you have gotten for evidence? Look at that. Look at this. Are you kidding me? But again, she wasn't ready at that time. She was getting married. She was having a lot of anxiety over the marriage, because a lot of it has to do nothing with us, but what their person's lesson is.
Right.
And I waited, and the thing is, you have to be mature enough to know that I'm just delivering, I'm honored to deliver it to you. And then you just wait, and then they hear it and they go, oh, then you hear the aha, I get it. So the same thing when a person, you can look at my website, I have 5 different packages, whatever feels like an aha to you will be the other thing that you are attracted to. The other thing I want to tell you about the reading. So I don't know what what things you've talked about channeling and automatic writing. But for me, I've been writing since I'm 16.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you I'm 58. And I noticed that when I did my writing as an artist, you do what they call drain braining. So when you go to school and the teacher says to you, okay, you have to come up with an original idea for blah, blah, blah. And then you go to the next class, you have to come up, where are those original ideas going to come from, Ron? 2 + 2 is always 4. But when you go to a top line college, you have to do something better than the guy next to you. You need to dump your brain. So that's how I got into meditating, and that's how I got into writing. And what you do is you just write for 3 pages, and you finally drain your brain to what you're actually, the core thing you want to discuss. So I noticed through the years that at 3 a.m, I was writing a lot. And I was like, gee, I've got a lot to say at 3 a.m. And then the next morning I'd wake up and I'd look at the picture and I go, wow, I'm pretty smart at 3 a.m. too. Look at this cool stuff written on here. And it's even written in kind of a nicer handwriting. And I didn't realize that was the beginning of channeling, because I was like, oh, look at that. So with the client, I mean, I'm a calligrapher also. I write really fancy. I sat down, I'd write all the pages in calligraphy, be gorgeous. And then the client would call me and say, I can't read it. And then I would spend the time and I would type it, but I can't read it. So it's like, okay, Spirit, how about we try audio? So then I tried audio, and every time I did it, it stopped. It wouldn't work. It would be deleted. Something would happen. Now that's how I get my validation from Spirit. I call it, I get bitch slapped. And I'm like, oh my God, I just spent like 2 hours doing this, Spirit. What are you doing? Like, what? Well, what did I learn? I learned that the writing is effective and the video they don't want. So what can I do in my human self? Because I'll say to them, oh, come on, Spirit, I'm human. The person. So what I do is I write it out for you, but I do a video reading. So I'm reading my notes.
Right.
So that you will always have them. I email it to the client so that this way, I don't know about you, but if anybody writes in their channel words, I can't read it. So at least now you can click on your email and listen to it again.
Right.
So that's what I offer.
No, that's beautiful. And that's definitely something a lot of people need, definitely when it comes to channeled writing, because it does come in, sometimes, the channeler can't read. I am not a good cursive reader. I never have been. But yet when I channel, there are certain words that, I will write in cursive. And I'm like, well, I said, I kind of have to go around with the context clues and say, well,
right.
I think this is what it meant to say. So I have definitely been there with that. And so
then you can't spell. Then I can't spell. I'm like, okay, spell, and that's a big long word. I don't even know what planet that is or what that guy. I have no idea. And I'm like, yeah. So yes, it's pretty funny because they'll hear me hesitate, and then it's choppy. It's not like I'm telling you a story. It's choppy, and I'll say to them, and then they'll have like run-ons where they'll go back. I'll say, and say blah blah blah. Like, so for instance, can you see this one? Can you see this one at all? I don't know if I should take it off of here. I think you can. Can you see this one?
I'm not super. We can't see all the detail. We can kind of see it, but you might want to.
So
if you want to.
This one is got like unicorns in, and it's got Mother Mary in it. See, and it's got also, so this is like the angels and saints. This is the Christ light coming in here. So again, I'm reading this to her, and then she's getting her own. It's so funny. If you notice, there's where is it here? There's a little forest here. So I
Yes.
asked Spirit, let me tell you about this story. It's pretty funny. I'm sorry, I'm napping. But this is like a cold forest. So I'm going to Spirit, I live in Long Island. Yes, it can be cold here. But I'm like, what does that look like? I asked them a lot of questions. What does that even look like? So I have to stop, I go to Spirit. Okay, I have to take a break. I got to go to the doctor. I go to the doctors. I'm filling out a check. And I look up, and behind the girl, the wait is a calendar of a frozen forest. I was like, oh, there it is. Thank you, Spirit, for that. And then when I gave it to the client, and I said, yeah, you live in a crystalline, you're from a crystalline, land. And she goes, oh, no wonder I'm always so damn cold. I said, well, if that's what you think, that's fine. So, that's how it comes into stuff like that. It's pretty fun.
Yes, yes. Well, and that's the good thing. Spirit definitely has a beautiful sense of
I
humor
love
that, keeps it fun, keeps it light. And, yeah, there are some, deep messages that we all get from Spirit. But Spirit, the thing is Spirit is always just giving you the message. And what I think is so beautiful about what you do is that you're giving people that message. But like I said, you're using a different sense. Some people, like myself, I do direct voice channeling. I close my eyes and, a different voice comes through. And, that's how, I always asked, I said, why is it that my voice changes, my dialect, the way that I speak? It always sounds like I'm about to burst into laughter when I begin that channeling. I said, why is that? And they told me the reason that the voice changes is only to deliver the frequency of the words. So it needs to come in a certain way. So they will deliver that through, a certain tone or a certain way of speaking. And so that's what I think is so beautiful is you're not using necessarily your voice, but you are using your voice. You're using your artistic voice and letting Spirit use that to communicate its message for someone who maybe doesn't necessarily want to hear it, but still wants to know what it is and can really receive that in a much gentler, much more abstract way that allows their mind to really be like, yeah, I know this is what it's saying. And like, your other client said, really allowing her to accept it in a very different way than, maybe the Palladian Council coming through and being like, well, you need to accept yourself. Or, did you ever think, one of their fun things to say is, did you ever think that you have the gift of, whatever it is? Some people it's the gift of activation. Some people it's the gift of, of laughter. Some people it's just the gift of the smile. But
well, they come in, they say, well, what I do is when I do my meditation, I'll say, please help me assist this client with my strongest gifts. And that's really what it is because as a teacher, I have to learn that there are 5 different ways that people learn. So that's also, there are probably more than 5 different ways that we receive. So this is a visual way of receiving. And again, the sacred geometry, so now there's a shape and then there are light codes in the artwork. Again, I wasn't aware of that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know, I'm drawing this symbol. And then the person says, and this is the other thing, Ron, that's really cool. I had a client once where I did, is it here? No, I did waves. And then again, not knowing the client at all. And that one, because these are ones that I do where you merge with your spirit animal. So I had done an eagle and then her eyes are merged in it. I think it's on my website. And they had waves underneath. And I gave it to her and she was ecstatic because, I asked Spirit to give me one thing from this lifetime that they can relate with, and that's your eyes. So that's it. I said to them, please let me have one thing because, am I going to make you, whatever, unicorn, or one guy made a Cetatron, like you're going to be so far off. I said, please give them one thing in the eyes. Okay, so I give it to her and I said, oh yeah, I have these waves. And what is she doing? She's unzipping her pants and showing me her back. The same exact thing to a T. The way the wave is turned is tattooed on her back. Again, how would I know that the woman didn't unzip her pants when she came to me?
Right.
Like, how would I know that? But that's how you know the synchronicity of how you know that you're working. I have another crazy story like that. So I have a woman. This is sort of like years ago in the beginning when I started doing it. And again, I wanted to make pretty pictures. I didn't want to make them look freakizoid. So I get to this one client and I know that she's going to hold like a globe in her hand. So I said to her, okay, could you just like mock doing this? So now I'm working on it, and they're telling me you have to make her purple. I'm like, oh, come on, that's gonna look weird. Like, so no, I tell you, like I said, I get bitch slapped a lot from spirit because you got to follow orders. And I've even gone to like a meditation where my mentor will turn around and go, all right, class, we're going to start. And by the way, Lisa, spirit's message for you is start listening to them. I'm getting yelled at from different levels. Oh, okay. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, but how am I supposed to do that? Again, just follow directions. But I'm an artist who doesn't like to follow directions. So I sit there and I call the client up and I says, listen, I don't know, I got to ask you a crazy favor. Could you go in your bathroom and take a picture of yourself with a flashlight underneath your face? Because I don't want to make her nose look big. I didn't know what the glow, the ball was glowing. So what's that going to look like? So here's a photograph of what she sent me. It's in her bathroom with a picture of her with a flashlight. And what is it? If you can see, it's a purple orb in front of her face in the bathroom. Where would that even come from? So I go to her, I guess she goes, Lisa, I think you have to make me purple. And I was like, I cannot believe it. So now, again, if that wasn't validation enough, I'm at the gym and I'm going, but spirit, what does that look like? Like, what would her face glowing look like? And then I wait because I'm patient, but I feel like a 2-year-old. What does that look like? So I'm on the gym and my phone, the iPod falls down and I'm listening to Black Eyed Peas. And they say to me, look down, Lisa. I look down and here's that Black Eyed Pea album where the person's face is glowing. And I was like, okay, I get it. And
right.
So again, asking to have your messages come in with your strongest gift. I mean, for anybody that's gone through this path, sometimes there's resistance because you're like, that sounds a little freaky. I don't know. Sounds a little freaky. I'm not, like I said at the beginning, I said, I'm not smoking or drinking anything. Like, what is going on here? And then you realize this is and again, and I don't have to know. I don't know if this is a good picture. I don't have to know. And then this is the end result.
Okay.
So here she is, the client, and then here's the picture, and she's a little purple, and she's holding the globe. So anyway, it was pretty funny. And yet, again, the client has to be open and receptive to receiving whatever the message is that Spirit's going to give you. And then you'll evolve from that.
Right.
And you'll know when you're ready. It's sort of like someone asked me, I just was talking to some like-minded friends today, and I went, well, how do you know? I said, well, how did you know what you were going to eat today? How did you know what clothes you were going to put on? Did you ask? I said, you put it on because you intuitively sense that. So why can't you go based upon trusting your gut on what to do spiritually? If you're not sure, there are plenty of angels and guides that can come in and you ask them, what do I do? And then we're such a fast, I want to know right now. I want to know immediately. I want to Google it, and I'm like, no, you need to just, it's like, but I have to tell you though, that things are happening quicker now with the new energies coming in. So hence being more positive, hence being, eliminating the things that no longer serve you, doing your full moon cleanse. Those are all things you need to do now anyway. But yes, attract what you want by the path of least resistance, by making sure that your mind is clear. And part of that is, like I said, with the soul art, is honoring yourself, your soul self. So even in the readings, I try to, I tell people who their guides are, but sometimes there'll be personal messages. Usually we're born here with 3, and that for me, my own philosophy and what I've learned is that you come here to learn 3 life lessons, and you come here with basically 3 gifts. And so I can see that when the client sits down, whether I tell them or not is really up to divine. Because that was the other thing I tell them. I will sit down and say something to them face to face or on the phone. Not everything gets painted. So like the last one I did, if you go on my last post, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to print it out, but she had all angels around her. And she said to me, how are you going to paint them all? And I said, well, I have all the faith that Spirit will tell me what to do. And I did put them in. Some of them were hidden in the back and some of them were in the front, which isn't that almost what it's like in life, where you have some people or some spirit guides that are in the front and right next to you and some that step back. That's how I painted it. Again, I try not to panic. That's the whole thing, going on vacation, panicking before you go there. Why not just organically let the process happen naturally. We're in a world where we're fear-based and we have a lot of doubt, and you have to learn to put that on the side. Don't watch too much social media. Don't get into the hype, into the anger. Say, I love and light doesn't mean I'm going to be an idiot and go blah, 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 blah. It's not there.
Right.
It's that I acknowledge it, I send love and light to it, and I assist where I can, which is holding the vibration of love and positivity.
Yes. And that is all that we can really do, is hold that vibration and really hold on to that, you know, to the best of our abilities, and just do that in whatever way feels, you know, the best and feels the most natural to us. And so, you know, as you continue, you know, with this, you know, you're talking a lot about teaching. So what else, you know, other than doing these beautiful, wonderful soul portraits, you know, what else do you do as an artist? So do you teach people? Do
I
you?
teach. I'm laughing at you because I don't know. I know you and I've talked before. I always tell people, if you stand still long enough, I'm going to paint you. So, I mean, I've painted tattoos on people. If you come to my studio, I painted my garbage cans. I guess I have a little ADD of painting, and I just paint a lot of things. So, what do? I teach crystal wire wrapping classes here in the studio. We have what other classes do I have? I don't have here. We have like retro art. I try to do a lot of empowerment workshops. So I'm going to be having a dream workshop at the beginning of January. And eventually, if I'm going to be setting up some online classes, you know, worldwide, where we could do something like this.
Right.
I just want to assist people in empowering themselves, that they believe in themselves, whatever the process is, through writing, through art. Because if you get better, I get better, and it's a planet, we get better. And that's really what my vision is. And that's why with even the soul art, like, you know, things, even just to have artwork around your surroundings that make you feel happy. So like this one is Eyes to the Soul. So these are small paintings that I sell, so that you don't have to necessarily get a portrait. You could just get something that makes you feel good. Just as, again, the clothes that you wear, what makes you feel good. Everything around you should be, I love it, I love it, I love it. So with my classes, I try to assist in that as also not. That's all divinely. So I'll have dream workshops. We'll do mandala workshops. We'll do the crystal wire wrapping. Let's say it's a full moon meditation. I always try to include meditation. I write it down in the description. I don't know why people get all weirded out, but my meditations are probably as good as at least 2 glasses of wine. Because people go, why don't you do one of those paint sip things? I'm like, okay, I tried that once, and the person put their brush in the drink, and then they made a painting that looked like mush. And I said, it made me crazy. I was like, because I take pride in what you walk out with, because I want that, to me as a teacher, it says a good thing. And it's like, that is muck, whatever that is. And maybe that was their lesson of muck, but now when you have a table of 10 people and you have 10 mooks, you know?
Right.
So I was like, no, we're not doing that. So then that's when I said, why don't you just, because people are like, meditation, is that like, I'm like, no, there's no It's like, we're talking about, so I try to keep them open-minded, but most of the time people, I bring in somebody to connect with. So they're like, I just did an angel workshop. So we made these. So I taught, okay, so these are angel paintings. Okay, really simple. So we made 2 of them, one for you to keep and one for you to give. We also made
beautiful.
So we also made angel cards. So what does that do? You can give the gift of an angel. Who could not have enough angels?
Right.
Okay? So, and it was beautiful because one person came to the workshop because her daughter, it was her angel anniversary. She had passed away. Another person came because a friend had a baby and she wanted to give a gift. It was perfect. Again, I just came up with the workshop, all divinely guided. What do we need? What do we need, Spirit? What would people need at this time during this stressful holiday season? I gave them a divine, channeled message from the angels, all divinely led. And I mean, are there tissues involved? Yes. You know, I'm like, well, that's just the way it is. And it's not bad to have a little crying boohoo session, but they all loved it because it was the connection that they needed. And, and I'm almost a little wonky when I'm done because I'm feeling what they're feeling. And it's very rewarding. So those are the classes I'll do. And I'm trying to offer some online classes too.
Oh,
So I could do
beautiful.
classes online. I could do the spirit work online, which is fine. Everything, all the events calendar on my website, Lisa
Yes.
Fazio artist.com. And what else? Oh, I wanted to make sure, in case people have already fall asleep listening to the two of us, is I wanted to tell anybody who wants a soul portrait for your people only, whoever's watching this cast.
Yes.
And it expires December 31st, 2019, is if you put a deposit down for a soul portrait, I will give them a free reading with it.
Oh,
And
beautiful. So
yeah, so
guys,
that's
that's
that's $150 value. So yeah,
that's
so
all
they sign
that's
up.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful,
they
guys.
have to say, I saw you on Ron's podcast, blah, blah, and they have to say that, and then they get the discount. Okay, so that's what I'm offering for your people.
Beautiful. So for once again, guys, if you want, if you put a deposit down on a soul portrait and you sit and you tell her, I saw you, and you have to say with Ron Schaefer of Simply Intuitive. So we're gonna really make you work for it. Ron Schaefer of Simply, I saw you with Ron Schaefer of Simply Intuitive. She's gonna go ahead and give you a free reading with that. I mean, not only are you getting a beautiful activation and portal for your soul growth, now you're also getting, a reading that goes with that, normally at $150. I mean, that's got to be, definitely worth a lot. Now, I want to ask you about, let's say that once again I decided to get, a soul portrait. How long, after our conversation, after our first initial like call,
Okay,
would
this is
that take?
cool. Okay, so that's a cool answer because again, everything is divinely led. I would say on average, it could be 2 months to 3 months. And the reason why is sometimes they blend the energy of the clients,
Okay.
which I did not know that. So there's a lineup and I have a waiting list. So you'll ask me and then so-and-so will ask me. And for the most part, I keep the order, but sometimes spirit will switch it because they want the two energies to blend on the easels.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's really cool. Like there'll be, let's say in the past, there's been someone who, usually what it means is that one person has more strength in one area than the other. So it's almost like the two energies are locking, like a male and female, like a divine
Right.
feminine, sort of in that way. If you could, a yin yang, you could understand that. Again, not my doing it, just was like, because some people I had to just plow and just do one. And some was like, no, simultaneously. They'll say simultaneously, you have to work these two or three together. I'm like, okay, whatever that might be. The other time restriction is on the client. There was a time where I wasn't getting any information from the client and I don't know what's going on. And I'm like wondering, so I go to my mentor and go, what's going on? And they went, Lisa, it's not you. They're in a transition. They're not ready. They're not releasing it. So I can't just channel for anybody. I don't know about how you do it, but I have to ask permission to your higher self if it's okay. So I'm not going to just tap into your stuff and just go and have a party with it. It's an acknowledgement or setting the intention of working together. And that's the first step. And then letting it again form organically. I might be right now, one of your viewers, I might be collecting work for them.
Right.
So that's, again, I have to trust the process. Everything is done on divine time. And most of the clients understand. Some clients might have had to wait a little longer than I would have felt humanly possible. But again, most of the time they're very happy because I go, I don't know why it's taking. And they're like, don't worry about it. Like I'm worrying for them. And they're like, no, no, no. And then when they get it, the timing, like you don't even know the timing. Did you know I was moving? You know what I mean? They'll say something like, I was moving my mother or this happened. It wouldn't have worked then anyway. You know what I'm saying? And then I give it to them, like the timing is perfect. Again, we have to stop, questioning and the trust. Everything is done in divine order. You don't have to know everything. It's not your business. You know what I mean? Stop putting your nose in it. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm talking about. So for the most part, I tell clients maybe, 3 months-ish, depending upon. So the way I did the soul portraits is, this is step one, let's just say. So this one is just your eyes. Okay, so that's maybe not too much information, but it is the color, it's the technique. This one is, I'll do the spirit animal and I'll blend your energy with it. That comes in many different ways. I can't tell you many different ways. This is the third step. This one is the eyes, maybe it might come with more of the face and one or two guides with it. And then the last one would be this one, which I showed you before, which is a large one, which if I'm shipping, again, it depends if I'm shipping or not, how I would do that. But this one, some of these have 3-dimensional elements put in it. Again, not doing whatever spirit tells me. I've collected, sand and water from Iceland. I mean, like, again, it just comes to me and I'm like, I guess this is for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my family's like, what are you collecting now? I'm like, I don't know. I just put it in a little bag. I just do this, what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, so that's again, that takes some time as well. Like one of the clients had a staff in their hand and they wanted me to get driftwood from the ocean to put embedded into the paper. So I'm like, big driftwood is Ron. What the heck? How am I going to put, and it isn't straight? So again, I'm trying not to argue with them. Like, really? You really think that's going to work? So again, I go to the beach and happened to be a lot of storms and there were strips of the wood on the beach. And I said, oh, that makes sense. So then I put the bark on the painting. See, again, so you have to stop questioning. It's pretty fun. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Right.
So what also I wanted to say, it's just as much fun for me as it is for you because I have no idea. It's a surprise. I'm like, yay, what's Ron gonna be today? Woo! I don't know. So I find if you hear my energy, I love it. It's a very sacred. This is my classroom studio that we're in now, but I have another smaller studio. So the energy is really pumped up. If anybody that I really trust with their energy can peek in, they can feel it's really whoop, it's really zoomed up there. And I have all these crystals in there and the light comes in, God's light comes in, bouncing off all over the place. I make the area very sacred. I have my oils and my sprays. I do my sound healing and then I put the art out and then it just happens.
Right. Then it just happens.
It's pretty fun. Well, it's pretty funny. And then like I was telling the story today to someone, what, the portrait work is very detailed. And of course I wanted to have something evoke a feeling when you look at it. Of course it would be nice. I'm not even a portrait painter, but I guess now I am. And I wanted to have an element that feels like Ron. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's really, and to get that is a totally different thing than just copying from a picture. You know what I mean? Yes. Or even taking a photograph. There's a feeling I'm evoking. So I'll be painting and so I'll listen to meditation music because a lot of times you're meditating when you're doing this. Well, I don't know about you, it takes me like hours to do this work and I'm listening to the woo, as my kids used to call it, the woo-woo music, and I'm sitting there and I'm doing your eyeball and then I fall asleep and then I give you like a third eye and I'm like, oh my God. Because I fall asleep on the paper. So I change up the music. So like right now I'm listening to Frank Sinatra. So if you go on my Facebook Live, you'll see I'm painting a portrait and I'm doing like, this because I have to move around. I'm in this one position the whole time. And then I'm like, I'm going to listen to Frank now. So I change up the energy, just like your life is. You change up the energy. I put that into the art and boom, that's where you get your color, your vibrancy.
Right.
And then you get to have that energy in your environment forever.
And that's what's so beautiful. Like you said, it's an evolving process, just because let's say, you painted my portrait, when I first look at it, I'm going to see, what's there. I'm going to see what's present for me in that present moment. But, like you said, spirit is doing it. So since spirit is doing it, spirit's going to make sure that, this isn't just a one-time hit and be like, oh, okay, well, there's your pretty picture for that moment. It's really that evolution. And, you may see something different in it, as you go through your own spiritual growth, as you, remember more and more of the truth of who you are, as you look at that picture, maybe, before you didn't see that there was actually like a beautiful dove that was representing this peaceful place that you were, that you had come to until right now.
It's also cool. I just finished a painting yesterday, delivered it to the client, and she was at a party. Somebody else read it. And I was like, damn, I didn't even see all that. Like, what are you talking about? Again, what were you smoking? Because I did not see that. I mean, it was hysterical. I was like, oh, yes. So that's exactly, it's like seeing a movie a second time and hearing it, another joke or something else. You just become more, it's just, again, evolving, all those words that you said exactly, which is really cool, again.
Yes.
I went to school to be an illustrator. I'm like, what is this? And it's just such a beautiful time that we're living in, and everybody's using different healing modalities. So this is another vehicle of a healing modality. It's an energy painting. When people ask you, like, what is that? I'm like, well, you're going to look at it, but your friend is going to say, oh my God, your eyes are not that. And then I said, don't do that. I said, it's just for your eyes. I said, I send you with a card home to tell you what to do. You just sit with it and you'll just get the message. You have to trust the process. And it's a key code. It's an energy portal just for you to evolve. It's an inside job. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. It's an inside job. Nobody knows your shit but you. So how can you say? You're going to look at it and go, what does that mean? You know what? You're not me. You have no idea what I'm going through. You're not walking in my shoes. So you can't even judge it that way. So yeah, very, very cool. I'm sorry, because I'm very direct.
No, you're absolutely fine.
Oh, that's just how it is.
That's all right. And that's what I think is, everyone has their own unique way of, really exploring spirit and exploring, that communication with spirit and, sharing that with the world. And this is your, beautiful expression. And once again, guys, if you are interested in finding out more information, about Lisa, number one, there you have her links, right here in the description of this video. And yeah, so we have all of her links in the description of the video. And, like she said, remember, if you guys go ahead and tell her, I saw you on Ron Schaefer, or I saw you with Ron Schaefer of Simply Intuitive on his, on our Zoom interview, then not only are you going to get, because you put your deposit down on your energy portrait, on your soul painting or soul portrait, you're also going to get a reading with that. It's not just, woo, done. No, you're going to get that reading as well. So definitely be looking into that, because you're getting a beautiful opportunity in this moment to do that. And, Patricia, and I can't really see her last name, Patricia has said that she has that she had gotten a soul portrait and she, she loves it. So I think what is, really beautiful about this whole process is that, like she said, it's an unfoldment. It's an inside job, and it's really about you. She is only presenting to you what spirit would like for her to give to you. Now, Lisa, do you have anything else that you would like to show us in the way of examples of, other soul portraits, or do you want to, is there anything else you want to say before we begin to wrap this up?
Well, on my website has some videos, so they can look at some videos on there of other testimonials. I put on, again, same philosophy as me as a teacher. I put just the 5 samples because it's going to be different for you. You know what I mean? It's going to be different. I mean, if they want to go to my Facebook page, Lisa Fazio, or my Instagram, Lisa Fazio Artist, there's plenty of material on there. They can go back and look at other clients' work, but it's not going to be yours. You know what I mean? So if, let's say, one person, I did the spirit animal, they had me embed the eyes in the animal. I just did another one 2 weeks ago I delivered. They had me merge her head with the side of the body. So I can't give you one way it's going to look. So that was the other. And what am I doing? So what I did was I designed it with packages that I thought maybe people could fit into their space, because some of it's large. So this is like, I don't even know what the size of this is, but it's not that. I made it so that this is doable. See, because the other thing I just want to say about spirit work like this, some people are kind of like, I don't want to seem like I'm vain. You know what I mean? So you know what? You put it in your personal space. You have a healing room. You have an altar, right? Ron, pick up your picture. We both have matching pictures.
Yes, we do. And I will, let me see if I can grab it over here. Hold on. I don't know. I think I might have put it a little too far away, guys. Yeah, I put it a little too far away. I thought I could reach it, but the headphones say, nope, you're not moving. So unfortunately, I can't reach it. But yes, we have.
It looks like this. It looks like this, right, Ron?
Yeah. Yes, it is our beautiful unicorns.
Unicorn energy, which is magical, and it helps you with insight. So they come in different sizes, and so you can pick which size resonates with you. And Ron has this on his altar. He doesn't have to
Yes.
tell. He doesn't have to tell everybody that. Hello, that's your own private altar. So you do what you feel comfortable with. So that's what I think. They have to trust their intuition. I mean, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4 samples here.
Right.
So I showed you 4 samples on here. I showed you the photographs to show you a little bit about the process. And then I'll have like general spirit art, which I have to get up in my store, but I didn't start doing that yet. But they can email me at lisafazioartist@gmail.com and I'll reply. But like I have small things like this. $5. Seriously?
Right.
Postage in the mail comes to you. A little piece of art. I want to make it, and then eventually I'm going to make them into meditation cards. And then I forgot the best thing. All the oracles, all the paintings that I'm doing, I'm making into oracle cards. So you'll be part of the deck. So it's all exciting stuff. I want people to be excited about who they are. I want them to bring good juju, good energy into their environment. Like I said, my store is not full, but they can get in touch with me at those 2 media platforms, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with them. It's all good.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And guys, once again, remember, if you want to go ahead and go over and, definitely look at all of her different stuff. If you do want to get an energy portrait, a soul portrait, and you want to get a reading with it, remember, all you have to do is, put down your deposit and email her and say, I saw you with Ron Schaefer of Simply Intuitive on, the Zoom interview, and you will get that reading for free, $150 value for free. What a wonderful gift to give yourself for Christmas. Really be considering that. So once again, everything that you would want to know about Lisa, get in contact with Lisa. It's all there in the description of this video, all of her links and everything else. If you do have an issue, if you do have a problem, please feel free to reach out to me. If you want to get in contact with her, but maybe you're having some troubles, I have all of her links as well. I will post them separately, and I'll also post them in the links or in the comments of this video, so you guys can see them. Unfortunately, I cannot pin them. They don't allow you to do that anymore. I thought they still did, but they don't, because I tried to do it last time and it didn't let me. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you all so much for being here. And that is going to end it for us for tonight.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Hope to see you. Make comments on social platform. I'd love to talk to you.
Bye.